Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Saturday. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, wonderful day in general. Let's see here. We're cutting the cards just a bit, and then I don't know, I've been kind of dragging my feet to the table today. Been kind of in my head and my thoughts in some other ways. I don't know what to say. A lot on my mind and heart and spirit, but I guess let's just see if it comes out in the reading. I'm gonna cut the deck and let's see what two energies are on the bottom. Interesting. So we got the Five of Swords, which is about some ambition to win at all costs, no matter the collateral or the consequence. And then we got the Three of Cups, which is about collaborations, celebration for sure. It can be celebratory, but with these two energies together, to me, it's just like, what's being celebrated exactly? Is there a celebration for some victory or defeat? That could be celebratory in the upright if it is not in the essence as it is here. Maybe perhaps victory over the determination for defeat would be a high vibrational celebration. But if someone is in celebration at this time because they have defeated someone else unjustifiably, perhaps even unfairly, and they're toasting to the celebration accordingly, not so much. Not so much. Okay, so let's just see where it goes with this. One thing's for sure is that when the Five of Swords shows up, it implies that that energy itself is defeated. If it was an indecent, if there was some indecent motivation behind it. So, you know, I've given the message before. Party up now. What is it? Is it party down or party up? I always mess this up. Party up now, pay up later. DMX. I posted that reading a long time ago. But that could be the energy that I'm feeling in my spirit right now. That's just kind of like, I don't know. It's not bad. It's not bad. There are inflections of exuberance and exhilaration, as a matter of fact, but it's just kind of like even for the most part. Maybe indifference, perhaps. I don't know. Let's see what comes up. All right. Okay, well, I'm not going to start there like that now, are we, Spirit? All right, let's see. It's also a bit gloomy here, so there's that. Two of Wands, first out, some plan of action. Okay, well, that was interesting. Some plan of action or yeah, more or less like making a decision to take some type of step or to do something in a specific direction. Ten of Pentacles, legacy, generational wealth, abundance. Knight of Cups, some offer, some emotional offer. What's interesting is that both of these energies are facing outside of, facing the opposite way, away from the Ten of Pentacles. Give me one what the Two of Wands is looking at. Just one. Let's see what their focus is. Okay. Some impending victory or someone else's victory. There's that. Or a plan of action that they believe is going to bring them victory. All right, what's the Knight of Cups looking at? One card, please, Spirit. Knight of Cups. What's he looking at? That's too many. Too many. Just one, just one, just one. Too many. I know I'm not making it easy, but oh, okay. Addictions. Limitations, distractions, something of the lower nature. Okay. Oh, well, you know, back to that beginning split energy. There's like, okay, so perhaps the celebration in the Three of Cups is for this here, this center energy, some attaining of wealth and abundance, something of a high, okay, good news. You know, those Three of Cups energies are excited about good news. Meanwhile, the Five of Swords energy is looking to figure out a way how it can intercept that good news, again, at all costs, like to disrupt that celebration or just that good mood. Remember I said I'm just kind of like even today, like, you know, it's definitely not a low vibration at all. And I have some peaks of exhilaration here and there. Like I feel like that's the example of the energy as it's coming up here. It's like you're more or less doing all right over here, minding your own business, celebrating your wins, small or great or small, whatever they may be, content in some regard. And there are these outside forces that are like, how can I disrupt that peace? How can I put a damper on, you know, how can I rain on that parade over there? Pretty much like this incessant obsession with, and look, here he is, Knight of Cups, trying to bring his little cup into the winner circle in the Three of Cups. But ultimately, the intention, as it often is with the Knight of Cups, at least lately it's been, is not good. You know, it's not something productive or even prosperous. It's something lustful, perhaps, maybe to manipulate that energy, to shift it in some regard, or to infiltrate it, like I said, to disturb the good nature of that collaboration, or just the energy there, to bring a different current into that energy field than what is, you know, like misery loves company type of thing. And then the Five of Swords on this side, I'm just like, in my head, I see them split on two sides of the board. Maybe I should have taken them out. I didn't think to do that. But on this side, I'm seeing, you know, this is the plan of action toward that win at all cost energy, because like I said, this person is seeing some impending victory on the horizon. Like perhaps this hasn't even happened yet holistically, but they're surveying the land and seeing where there could be a possibility for someone to win outside of him. and devising a plan of action again to disturb and disrupt that progression. Meanwhile, what's sitting in the middle, where they're both looking in the wrong direction, is the Ten of Pentacles, which is safe, sound, and secure right where it is. Like it can almost be considered that maybe they're guarding it or trying to block that energy in a sense, but I feel like it's worth really connecting to the fact that they're both preoccupied with something material in their hand. This one has the world and the staff, so power and some focus on, let's say, world domination, you know, and on a very small scale, because his perspective of the world isn't even vast from as small as that world is in his hand. You know, it's like all of this territory and you got that little basketball, soccer ball size globe in your hand. You know, the world is so much greater than that. So there's that. His focus is already skewed. And then you have the Knight of Cups, which I've said time and again, is like diffused is like diffused emotional energy from the King of Cups. Someone that's a bit impulsive in their emotional expression, that may or may not even be very settled with what they feel or why they feel what they feel. You know, they just kind of act on the expression itself, or to even worse than that, especially in this vibration with the Devil here. It's like they're looking to manipulate emotional energy with projection, you know, so wherever they are emotionally or energetically in the present moment is what they're looking to either deflect or project onto whomever their target is. So again, misery loves company. Somebody that may or may not be very pleased or secure or even psychologically sound at this time is looking for some way or some place to offset that energetic vibration, that emotional current, to, you know, to thrust it somewhere else, almost literally with the Knight of Cups, because he can be a bit of a Casanova or, you know, a finesser in some regard. So his intentions are dark, and whomever he connects to is more or less vulnerable to being overcome or at least tainted by his imbalance, you know, because it's icky, ultimately, is what it comes down to. So anyway, all that to say that I would give them credit to say, though, maybe they're blocking it. That perhaps is their intention, but because their focus is so jaded on either side, they really they're not really even in the right position, mindset, and posture to truly be a blockage, you know, to something such as the Ten of Pentacles, whether it is to, it's like while he's out trying to figure out who to finesse and he's out trying to figure out how to take over the world, this energy here is just growing and growing, you know, like almost like they're off their post in a sense. And this energy here is just expanding by the minute, getting bigger and bigger. And with a thing such as the Ten of Pentacles, first of all, it's final. It's a finality with the 10. That's the end of this suit. So whatever it is, it's already settled. And when we consider that the Ten of Pentacles can often be some sort of inheritance or windfall of abundance, or something that is very specific, and, you know, it has a name on it, pretty much. It has an assignment. Someone is assigned to it or assigned to receive it. Those with skewed perspectives and focuses definitely don't have no right to it, even if they once laid hands on it. And they lack the strength and fortitude to really impress anything upon it that's not already divine to be so. So in the worst way that they think they could be creating a disturbance, they're actually probably adding to the value of what it is. Because, you know, like, consider when something, even such as a large sum of money, sits and collects interest over time, you know, and nobody's touching it, more or less, that's just a bigger jackpot. You know, whether we're talking about energy, or we're talking about something material such as money or an estate, or something, you know, something that can appreciate in value over time. So to delay anything, or to cause a distraction or detour otherwise from whatever is to be connected with this energy, is just really helping it out. You know, it's like, yeah, like, this is the Page of Cups. That's the message. Tower card. I'm not going to take all that, but you see it. So there's something sudden that's on the horizon. The Tower was the top, but there's several things underneath, so maybe quite a few disasters or catastrophes that require immediate attention, if not now, certainly forthcoming. We got the Queen of Wands and the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, see, this is the collaborative effort down here with the Three of Pentacles, trying to devise a way to get it, like, especially after I just talked about accounts and estates and things of that nature. This gives me bank vibes, or some financial institution, some legal institution, maybe the courthouse. You know, somebody that's really trying to work some magic, perhaps, to change the fate of this fortune. You know, they're holding some documents, and this guy is like shining a light on these documents. Like, they're trying to either forge some documents or change the fate of a fortune from what it's already been designed to be with the Ten of Pentacles. But consider the depreciation in two ways. First of all, on this Knight of Cups energy down to this page, that's a depreciation. And then from the Ten of Pentacles to the Three of Pentacles is also a depreciation. That's 7. So this is the difference between the 10 and the 3 is a 7. That's a poor investment to make, you know, with whatever this is. It's 7 of Pentacles isn't always absolutely a poor investment, but for me, it depends on the energy connected to it. For me, it's somebody that spends a lot of time and energy sowing, and what the harvest yielded is according to perspective. So to me, it's according to my perspective as to what energy is connected with it. And given this is a depreciation in value, somebody that's sown over and over again and spent a lot of time and energy into, you know, maybe perhaps creating a legacy such as this themselves, but not doing it, but their focus being misguided in that regard, may be quite disappointed in the time and energy that they invested to come down to Three Pentacles in the end. And there's still to be a question about it. There's still to be some discrepancy. Remember, I said, whatever this Ten of Pentacles is, it's an assignment. There's a name attached to it. There is a destination, like something written, documented, sealed legally in some regard, especially if we're talking about an estate or inheritance. There has to be something legalized in order for that to be handled. And here it is that down to the Three of Pentacles, maybe even time has wound down, or maybe even perhaps over 7 years. Some individuals have tried to lay claim to something on a larger scale that didn't have their name on it, and they've been doing a lot. You know, this Queen of Wands for this time being is giving me especially how she's kind of looking over this Three of Pentacles right now, like this is her focus. In a lower vibration, is given someone that's really been anticipating changing the circumstance of this intention, you know, like Queen of Wands can be mystical, creative energy. You know, she's usually not the most proactive. So maybe, and that makes sense even still under the Two of Wands, where it's like the 2 plus her 1 is almost a 3, like some anticipation of a return on energetic manipulation is what I'm getting. Some creative, creative, like for lack of a better word, manipulation that's been at play here that would stand to change the fate, or would have been expected to change the fate of this transition of funds and fortune into the hands of individuals that, from this difference in perception, are not due for it, are not that are not entitled to it. There it is. And title even sparks up an energy like the title of a house, or the inheritance from a relative. I don't know what else could be something like that. Maybe just some energy that was manifested in the name of someone else, or in the likeness of someone else. Yeah, there it is. The likeness or the name of someone else, or with someone else's creativity. Okay, stolen creativity is what I'm hearing. Yep, here we go. Stolen creativity. This plan of action. Remember I said his view of the world is actually pretty small. Well, it's because he lacks vision of his own expansive nature purely, so he finds other ways to pretty much, like, look, gain off of someone else's good fortune. This is someone else. This is a winner right here with the Six of Wands. Somebody that gets recognition and reward for their creativity. And here he is sitting just watching, figuring out how he can take her wand or his wand and somehow incorporate it into his small world of creativity, because he's most creative at stealing other people's creativity. That's his, you know, like that's his gift ultimately. And then here's that energy here with the Queen of Wands in the feminine aspect. Remember I said it's like somebody more in the feminine of any of the queens. There's more of a receptive energy. Not even the King of Wands, who will go out and conquer and actually do something with his vibration. The Queen of Wands more or less is kind of like she sends out a vibration or an intention energetically, and not to say that she's not willing to work and get into action, but just the difference in masculine and feminine energy alone is that by nature, it's more or less implied that she would be in receptive mode, being more prone to receive creativity and then reproduce it. There it is. Reproduce it in her own right, you know, put her own signature, here we go, Spirit, on it energetically, and then deliver it in some way, shape, or form. Which is why I said here's a depreciation, because this is the Knight of Cups, the finesser in his own right. But here we are with the Page of Cups, which is even less of a value. And there's something tainted in that cup as a derivative coming off of the Devil energy. So it's like this offering an intention toward this lower vibrational frequency comes out even less, having even a lesser value than what it started in the first place. And it still wasn't even a king. You know, it's like, it's tainted. But this is what's being offered as some authentic expression, you know, of a spiritual nature at that, from this Queen of Wands, or from this Two of Wands, whomever this perhaps even the duo is, that's looking to, like I said, find their way into this fortune by any means necessary, winning at all costs. That Five of Swords, no matter what the casualty, perhaps even the Six of Wands here, no matter what the consequence, taking risks legally and spiritually in this regard, you know, forging, create a creative signature at the very least, which in some regards isn't necessarily a crime. It depends on, you know, unfortunately, it depends on the logistics of the exchange. You know, maybe where they got it from wasn't really protected, and so they felt entitled to take it and repurpose it and so on and so forth. But as I said, this is definitely giving me some type of like courthouse, financial institution, something here is being re-examined and reconsidered. Like almost like this person here is like scrutinizing these documents or this evidence in some regard to authenticate it, you know. So something is afoot here. Is that how you say it? Something strange is afoot. All right, yeah, here's the Queen of Cups. We definitely know what the Queen of Cups gives. Let's see what's on the other side of her. Somebody who is compassionate, that is high in the suit of cups. And here's that poor investment right here, the Seven of Pentacles that I was speaking about earlier. Somebody is like taking energy from people that, from creators, from, I don't even know, like queens in this regard, but what the queens are representing, pardon me, I can't exactly say. They could just be high vibrational women, you know, but in this regard, I feel like it's almost a face-off of sorts. Like there's something more authentic, especially given how I was talking about the cups, the Knight of Cups being like diffused from the King, and then the Page of Cups being even lesser than that, almost like a tainted energy or distorted emotional energy or spiritual energy, really. The Queen of Cups is very authentic spiritually in the upright, in her highest vibration. You know, this is someone that is intuitive, that's emotionally intelligent. She thrives in compassion and love vibration, which we know is the origin of manifestation, not so much even the power as it is with the Queen of Wands. That's more of the action after, well after the spirit, as a matter of fact, because you got the Queen of Cups, who is the spiritual aspect. Then you got the Swords, the Queen of Swords, who's the intellect. Then you got the Wands, and then you have the manifestation materially with the Queen of Pentacles. So this is like somebody that's like third up, you know what I mean? Like she's not, this is number one right here. This is where it all begins. This is the purest form of energy in this state right here. And as I said, it's like there's been almost like a heist of her vitality disseminated in ways that can't truly be duplicated, not even in the same suit with the Knight of Cups and the Page of Cups, and certainly not so transmuted into other energies such as the Wands and then the Pentacles, because it's not originated from the source. You know, it's like it's always going to be a bit of a replica or something knockoff, you know what I mean? So it's no wonder this is giving me energy of somebody that perhaps invested their time and energy. This is the investment from the 10 to the 3, but this is like the outcome of it all. You know, that this was the real deal, you know. Even in his diffused state, he was better off with this energy and connect in his connective arsenal, more or less, like even siphoning from this energy, than he was here in the Queen of Wands, where the best he could do is the Two of Wands, one step up. You know what I mean? Not even somebody valiant or, you know, a knight, or even a page, you know, might perhaps be better than the Two of Wands in the vibration that I'm speaking of. Somebody that's just has the wrong idea about his, you know, his worldview is just off pretty much, you know, and that is ultimately his motivation for creativity. So the outcome here is this unsatisfying harvest or result for all of the song. Like a lot of work and effort's been put in to this, whatever this is, and it was all for the purposes of this great fortune, and it even still has not amounted to much, even materially, not holistically to what was intended. We've gone from the 10, then it was the 3, and now it's the 7. But consider with the 7, it's like 6 of those pentacles aren't even harvestable. You know what I mean? It's like only one of them is plucked from the tree or the bush or from whatever this is. It's like all he can do is look at the rest of it. It's almost like, how is it? It's like, consider if this is about some, you know, fraudulent activity by way of financial accounts or transfers, or, you know, something that somebody's trying to lay claim to unjustifiably. They do all this work to get it, forge documents, incorporate accomplices to, you know, help get the job done in one way, shape, or form, create storylines and narratives about, you know, it has to come with a whole, what do you call it? Like a whole production, right? Like there needs to be a whole production for this to be believable ultimately, like of who you are and why you're entitled to this, and, you know, the story that you have to tell in order to make it believable. And then, as I said, even the sheer, what do you call it? Like the sheer, not threat, but risks taken to even present yourself worthy to have a certain thing, or to be the originators of this expression, whatever it is, whether it be money, whether it be creativity, stealing ideas, you know, forging fraudulent activity in some regard, whether it be identity or creativity, that there's something that's not right up in this thing. And it was a big risk to take in the first place that required a lot of energy, a lot of attention to detail and dedication and time and effort and, you know, all types of people and moving parts, and having to place your trust in organizations that, or in accomplices that you can't even necessarily holistically trust. I mean, we got the devil up in the mix, and then all that to come down to one pentacle. It's like you get to the big payday, and the institution says, "Oh, there's been a freeze on such and such accounts. We can release this much to you, but however, there's been a freeze until further investigation because of X, Y, and Z," like whatever it is. How can I spin it for the creative aspect? Oh, so you build this whole platform, you know, like build this whole brand socially on the premise of this stolen creativity that you've been really just pawning off as your own, for someone to come along, just one person to come along and say, "Hold up, didn't so-and-so say that?" Like, I think I heard this before. You know, like it only takes one to just blow the whole shit up, you know, blow the whole cover and plant that one seed of question, you know, that would spiral into other people doing some investigation, doing some digging, some consideration, some compare and contrast, and like, hold up, everything that, like, consider how people be stealing content on social media. It baffles me, like, especially spiritual content. It's like, come on, like, that's a double whammy. First of all, creatively, you're out of order, and then spiritually, you're out of order. So at some point, you're going to get caught up one way or the other. Like I said, either somebody's going to, especially the spiritual community, because it's so small anyway, that eventually somebody's going to catch on. Even when I'm listening to certain readers, I can hear inflections of when they listen to other readers that I connect to. Like, I can hear certain sayings or certain ways they, and it's okay, because we all influence each other in a positive way when we're in a positive projection. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just saying, like, even the smallest thing, I even hear it sometimes if I'm listening to somebody more than usual, then I might say a thing. But usually if I say a thing, like, for instance, Nephilim, the angel goddess, I like her, you know, she's interesting. And she always does this thing. Now, to be completely honest with you, sometimes it gets on my damn nerves, but it's like captivating, because she says it so much that she says, that was just a spiritual commercial break, when she kind of goes off on a tangent or interjects with, and it's never really a tangent to me, which is why it kind of like gets on my nerves a bit, because it's like, don't tell me I'm watching a commercial. You know, I'd rather not be watching a commercial or even an ad on YouTube. So please don't insert them where they don't need to be inserted. But what she's saying usually to me has value to what the reading is anyway. So it's just kind of like her little thing. You know, I've gotten over the agitation about it and just have accepted it. And now it permeates me every now and again when I do have my own tangents that actually are tangents, kind of like this one right now. And I'm like, that was a commercial break. I don't say it very often, but when I do, it instinctively reminds me of her. And I'll even say, like, shout out to Nephilim, the angel goddess. That's my integrity that speaks for me, because the last thing I want to do is be on here fronting with somebody else's energy, even in the most casual and harmless way, you know, because who gives a shit? She's not the first person to say something was a commercial break, and I'm sure she won't be the last, but that's just the integrity that I move in. But the people that don't move in integrity, and that really is like, one thing if you just out here skimming and scamming, because it's easy to do that in the spiritual community, just telling people what they want to hear. But then to actually steal somebody else's message, or I don't even know how you do that. I don't understand it. Do you just sit and watch somebody's reading and then word for word, card for card, recite it on your own platform? Is that how it works? Like, how do you even sleep at night, let alone look at yourself in the mirror and call yourself a spiritualist or even a decent human being with something that's so sensitive and serious? Like, it makes no sense to me. But anyway, pardon that commercial break. Shout out to Nephilim, the angel goddess. The point that I'm trying to make here is that it's like, giving all of this energy and time into creating this false persona, this platform, and it's built up on something that's not divine to you. And perhaps even the channel that you're stealing from gets, like, which happens all the time, like that person just decides, like, I'm just going to stop tarot, or I'm going to move in a different direction, you know, and now it's like the source of the information is gone. Now what do you do? All that, and now you got people looking at you. You can't just backtrack now and just decide, you know, you've made money, you've been taking donations, you've been doing personal readings, you know, with the audacity to do so. So it's like, how can I not continue on now? You're looking at that pentacle, like, but eventually, especially in the celestial climate that we're in, the cosmic climate that we're in, if it's not authentic, it really doesn't resonate. You know, there's still some frauds out there, but for the most part, they're engaging other frauds, like, you know, or people that are still so green in their spiritual awakening or their journey that they don't even realize they're being finessed, literally, in some way, shape, or form. They don't see it. They don't feel it. There's really, you know, it's getting hard to really eat well harvest well from that low-hanging fruit, because I feel like there's becoming even more of a saturation of people that are waking up to their callings day to day. And although they might be just starting out or just expanding their platform or whatever, there's still a different resonance of truth that rings before they'll keep giving and almost like, you know, patronizing a fraud, you know. So it's like time is ticking on the fraudulent activity, and it's not just evident to those that are in the midst of it, still trying to draw funds from bank accounts that don't belong to them in spirit and in truth, but it's actually starting to materialize in a physical way, like resources, everything's kind of dwindling down because it's not really rooted in anything pure, you know. So even those that they can continue to finesse and keep the lie alive, it's still not yielding the same return that it once was when no one was any the wiser, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, because that was a bit of a tangent. I would take all these since I've been chit-chatting. This should put me out. Take me out. Uh-oh, I see something hiding here. Yeah, look at that. I'm gonna keep them together because that's about right. People thinking they're escaping their own fatality, and they're not. They're ultimately just making it worse on themselves, or stepping into a cycle that they have almost created. They're self-sabotaging themselves is what it comes down to. I always say that. They're sabotaging themselves, not self-sabotaging themselves, because that's an oxymoron or a double something, entendre or something. But you know what I mean. This is sabotage in the middle, where they think they're getting away on someone else and leaving them out to dry, and, you know, in despair, and without, you know, thinking that whatever this game that's being played and being run, and I mean game in the fraudulent sense, not in the fun sense, there's an intention to get away with deception. But I can't help but stay on the centric focus here, which is that no matter which way they go, you're going to be blocked to have to deal with whatever was created at this point, you know, because as I said, these seeds that have been sown over and over and over again, it's like, all right, now you're going to have to harvest the deception that you created, and it may yield in such a way with the crop, with a seed such as this, you can't even control what you're going to yield 100%. And you don't know how. It's like wildflowers. You don't know how they're going to grow, really and truly. You know, like I said, it could be one person, literally wildflowers with the sunflower and the Queen of Wands. It could be one person that sees your content, but listens to someone else that sounds like you and is like, hold up, this don't sound right. And then they expose you on their platform, and then that becomes a thing, and that goes more viral than what you're, you know, or what you are in a material sense thinking that you're about to intercept or even suppress or block or whatever. Lo and behold, there are other eyes. You know, there are different, or perhaps even different people in the places that you're used to, because this came up in a reading before where it was like they're used to dealing with a different financial executive, but maybe perhaps this one particular day was the day that that person was out sick and the boss is the supervisor or somebody is handling all the accounts, and you're a major account holder, right? So of course they're going to roll out the red carpet, but then they actually look over your paperwork and something just doesn't seem quite right. Something was missed, or some, there's a cause for a for something to be further, to magnify the introspect into the situation. I'm trying not to say to what I said before. What was it? Now I can't even remember what I said before. Investigation, but that's ultimately what it comes down to. I just be trying to find other words. That there's need for further scrutinization. That's what I really was trying to find, that word, like to scrutinize some discrepancy or point of concern within these documents or in this transfer. It's not as easy peasy as it usually is. Like, yeah, call such and such, tell them to transfer to this account. It's like, hold up. And is this how it's usually done for you? Or, it's like, well, we usually require such and such an amount of days, 3 days for a transfer of such as this. And, you have to do this, and like all these things, that red tape that they're not used to getting around, it's like the chickens are just coming home to roost is what it ultimately comes down to. You can't just keep doing dirt and thinking that you're going to keep getting away with it. This is the energy here. It's like feeling like this is, the entitlement and the audacity is what it all is for me. To think that you can just continue about business as usual, holding on to things that don't belong to you, creating new energy with things that don't belong to you. And it's just going to be safe and sound at your disposable and in your possession whole time. And you're going to keep it away from the people that rightfully, actually deserve it and have a right to it. And that is in regards to creativity and material. Like, really? So here's the Empress card, and sadness, because this is that 3 of Cups spilled out from the beginning, where this person's been drinking up the energy from that 3 of Cups, other people's celebration, other people's harvest, their cornucopias. That's also the energy from the 3 of Cups. Their plentifulness, ultimately, like the vitality of their energy has been a possession of these, I don't even know what you want to call it. I say demonic influencers or diabolical, fraudulent influencers, maybe, because the devil is an influencer, and that seems to be the fueling force behind these motives. So some fraudulent influencers are here mourning cups that are spilled that never belonged to them in the first place, instead of picking up the 2 opportunities or possibilities that they may have to actually create something on their own. Even if it is going back to the Knight of Cups or going back to the Page of Cups, it still belongs to you. It belongs to them authentically. It's like you ran it through the devil's brew to enhance it, because, the devil has a way, that energy has a way of inflating your expectations, thinking that you were perhaps even becoming the King of Cups. That's what I'm hearing, like thought you were becoming the King of Cups, when it all came down to it, you came out less than that, than what you started. Now you have the 2 of Cups. You got where you started and perhaps even where you ended up. And you don't want that, of course, because that was never good enough, obviously, even for you, or you would have stuck with it honorably and with integrity in the first place. But what it comes down to is that, I didn't even realize how strong this feminine energy was down here. The Empress is rightfully on the throne that was passed down to her, and the 10 of Pentacles, like it's a part of the lineage, it's a part of the dynasty. It's like I was saying before, it has it's a name attached to it. There were blood, sweat, and tears that were invested in this harvest to be passed down through the generations that are rightfully connected to it. So how do you feel it's okay to just kind of intercept that bloodline and make yourself at home, pour yourself up a cup, like, or 2 or 3 while you at it? Like, what is, again, the audacity for me is like on another level, and how you just, people in this energy never thought that it would balance out. You know, like I said, even in that beginning energy with the 3 of Cups and the 5 of Swords, either celebrating how you've ultimately caused great disruption and chaos in somebody's life is still going to lead you into a pitfall, or still strategizing on how to be a disturbance in somebody's life is still going to lead you into a pitfall. And I guess that's why my energy's been kind of like indifferent, because it's like, whatever, you know. That's why I could identify with that, because it's like, no matter where you go, like I said, even up here, either way, you're still not focused in the right direction, because you could have your own 10 of Pentacles. You could be creating your own generational wealth and legacy. Maybe even perhaps raising your energetic frequency to be the beneficiary of your generational legacy. I'm sure there's something in the ethers due to you by way of your bloodline, but because you're running around looking to see who's else you can, you know, still kill and destroy, you're missing the magic of your own. It's like, it's sad, honestly. All that energy invested in someone else's garden, you could have been sowing into your own and probably surpassed the 10 of Pentacles at this point in time with all this diligence, this due diligence, you know. Like, it's all really just been a matter of the wrong perspective and focus. The energy, the power, the intention, the ambition has been there. It's just been displaced into the wrong areas. And where it was intended to be an obstruction to others, like to literally like suppress one source to enhance its own, is actually done the opposite, because it's expanded the platform of the energies that were set to be disenfranchised. More, literally, more strength, more independence, more self-control and direction, more abundance. Like I said before, it's just grown with interest, literally self-interest, because those that are in the right mind to truly not only be the beneficiaries of such a harvest, but have the will to create their own, are not going to be operating in the victimized mentality as it may have been intended for them to, in a woe is me, oh, damsel in distress type of energy. No, like, or I'm so poor, I lost, you know, I'm so impoverished mindset, somebody please, like codependency, somebody please save me. That's not what is given for somebody that is a direct descendant of such wealth and prosperity in the first place. There's a reason that bloodline exists. It comes from a wealth of spiritual supremacy. So it's no wonder. I mean, think about it. When you think about the Queen, you know, think about even in the most practical sense, like the legacy of in the UK, you know, the royal family. Nobody is worried, you know. There may be some facades about what's really lucrative as far as wealth is concerned, and maybe not. Maybe it's not even known truly how wealthy they truly are. You know, it may be more than what we thought, but it could be less than what we thought. But the point is, it's the prestige of the family bloodline, the dynasty, the legacy. Each, you know, what can I say? the nobility that's passed down from generation to generation isn't really as much attached to a material harvest or a material measurement as it is tradition, and what the legacy has more or less garnered and respect and reverence over years of operation, of years of existence, of a strong legacy continue, whether people, like I said, indifferent, good, bad, or whatever. Like, some people love them, some people don't in their own country. You know, some people agree with the monarchy, some people don't. But the fact remains is that there's an establishment of order there where you will respect the crown, whether you like it or not, or it's a crime. You know, it really is like treason or something of that sort in that country. But how it plays out is that we're talking about divine dynasties and legacies that have been covered for generations, for lifetimes, for eons. Perhaps there's an attachment of covenant there with predecessors and ancestors that have had a devotion to divinity in some way, shape, or form, or just have been in alignment with the covenant that and the creed that they had, you know, been conditioned to submit to. And whatever that may be, it was continuously passed down. And that's the wealth, you know, that intention that I don't even know how to say it, but I know you feel me. Like, it doesn't necessarily, you could have a bloodline that's poor materially, but rich in spirit, rich in energy, rich in creativity, gifts, which is what pentacles are when they're not money or coins or wealth or estates. Somebody could be homeless, but still have a current of spiritual gifts and even actual talents and abilities running through their veins, you know, genius level abilities and talents that are unmatched, because this is just what's been passed down generation to generation. So when somebody comes and tries to recreate that, let alone like fraudulently pass it off as their own, it doesn't even translate well. And it's an abomination to the legacy that is more or less being, you know, frauded from a natural perspective and from a spiritual perspective, because those gifts, that energy has an assigned signature to it. So you got to get your own, or figure out some new way to express yourself that will ultimately gain you the reverence and the reward and the anointing of an ethereal essence, you know, where spirit can feel like it can pour into you doing something natural and organic and authentic. That spiritual support wants to get behind something like that when it's done in integrity, because that's yet even a new thing that can be created and add value to the kingdom overall. There doesn't need to be, you know, cookie cutter creativity in the kingdom for it to operate fully functionally. There needs to be diversity so that everybody has some expression to lead and can be an example of, you know, it's like the scripture when during Pentecost, when all the disciples started speaking in different tongues that they didn't even know they could speak in, but it spoke to all different types of cultures and generations and all walks of life that were present and witnessing this, you know, this phenomenon of spiritual experience in real time. If everybody was speaking Russian in that moment, the message would have been lost. It was the diversity of the tongue, diversity of the expression that allowed others to partake and receive that word of hope, that word of life, to see, you know, to connect with their faith in their own understanding, so to speak. And that's the expression of creativity that I feel we get to be. That was kind of a roundabout way for me to give the example. If you may not even be familiar with that passage, but it just felt right in this moment. That's the issue, is that we've been conditioned to conform into a cookie cutter mold, as if that's what, the divine initiated and called for in the first place. But really, it's breaking out of that mold. Like, even if you're just going to be a plop of cookie dough, chocolate chip cookie dough on the pan with no structure, no order, no shape, just a plop of it on the pan, it'll taste just as good as if I rolled it, you got rolled up all nice and neat into a ball and pressed down flat to cook evenly. This taste is still divine in my mind, in my opinion. And I am a little bit more particular about my cookies, but for all intents and purposes, a cookie is a cookie. And what it looks like, really doesn't matter when the quality of it is still just as satisfying, is what I'm saying. I hope you feel me. So, yeah, and this is the energy here. This is that spiritual force and from source, as I said, that's making all things balanced. And my eye is itching, I'm sorry. It's making all things balanced and equal. This is a return to sender energy. So everything that was expelled on account of things that have been fraudulent or out of order, unjustified, inorganic, are being transposed or I don't know, whatever, something, transition perhaps. The death card ain't out here, but if it's not pure, it's not going to survive, period. So everything that was sown is going to be returned. And it's like also representing this intel of exposure that's piercing into the realm. This is communication, information, and it's unstoppable. It's like what I was saying, like with people that are out here frauding in social media, it's only a matter of time before one person catches on, and then it's like a wildfire till the point where you almost feel under attack. Like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? And then the whole house of cards come tumbling down, no pun intended. This is that action right here that's inevitable. It literally is it's unstoppable force of justice that pierces through the from heavenly spaces, it seems like it almost comes out of nowhere. As a matter of fact, it pierces through and it's like spirit becoming matter, and before you know it, you're either under attack or under some great umbrella of blessings. That's the disparity here. So those that have been disenfranchised, that have been vulnerable to these fraudulent impressions, have had their energy stolen, have had their wealth stolen or blocked, their natural organic prosperity and productivity siphoned, or whatever you want to call it, like blocked, pretty much is the best word for it. They've had it obstructed in some way. It's all coming back. It's coming back to those that it rightfully belongs to, and is justified to continue with, even by way of these legacies. It'll be returned to whom is the designated beneficiaries of these gifts, talents, materials, and estates, and so on. And the energy of it'll be like the return is like, here you go, and this is yours. Back to you, Page of Cups, back to you, Knight of Cups type of vibration. Everybody gets back what they rightfully owned, and now it's like the difference is, consider you go from being on track to be the Knight of Cups only to get smacked back down to the King of Cups, only to get smacked back down in an instant as it stands, because this is like unexpected, instantaneous energy. You just were living on a house on the hill, having a platform of 1 million subscribers and multiple businesses and enterprises and branding out of this world, to now you're back to your old I almost said my old bony self again. That's from the Nightmare Before Christmas, Jack said that, but your old funny self again. And the reason why that is kind of a blow back is because, like I said, you're still going to have to sow regardless. But now, because of the energy that you've created against yourself and your highest integrity, you have to sow with much less support, with people scrutinizing everything you do, or you know, with less credibility, perhaps because you've been exposed for what you've done to get to this point. Whereas if you would have done it all in integrity, you'd probably be right where you want to be at this point, or at least in a position honorably to receive this influx of energy that was undoubtedly coming into the realm anyway. So if you still thought that you were nothing more than a Knight of Cups, but you were working in integrity and honor and truth and persistence and diligence and not infringing on anybody else's progression or prosperity, guess what? Spirit would have blown in here to exalt you to your heart's desire, because you invested the work and energy honestly to be in a vibration to receive it. But you weren't, so it's like, it's not really a punishment, it's just making all things balanced and fair and equal as they're supposed to be. And now you just made the road harder for yourself to actually, it's like you started back over at square one when you could have been 10 steps ahead by now. It was wasted energy. And you did so much work just to get here, just to be knocked 10 steps back, that you might as well take in the steady way, the so-called slow and steady way, the honest living would have gotten you the same results, if not more so by this time. Had your Two of Wands actually been an honest plan. Yeah, like crossing over, right? You would have been crossing over, but now it's like this is also the disparity. I didn't mean to pull this card, but some people are crossing over. Everybody's crossing over. How about that? But some people, this is always my promised land card. You know, there's an accelerated crossover and expansion into new territories that more or less, you know, it seems unknown here in the distance, but it's according to what you've harvested based on, again, what you've done with the resources that you had. Some people rejected that spirit. This is him rejecting the true spiritual nature, you know, that divine spiritual cup for what? Yet again, the Three of Cups that was spilled here, and the Three of Cups energy that he was so fixated on and possessing and obsessing over that didn't belong to him in the first place. Now it's like, here's your cup. Now you're ready to take it. And it's much more of a bitter, a bitter sip for all the reasons that I already said. You know, because if you would have just taken what the spirit gave you and been satisfied with that in the first place, you'd probably be, you know, it'd be like fine wine to you by now, because it wouldn't really matter what was in anybody else's cup by way of these three over here. You'd be too fixated on being nurtured and nourished from what's yours to even have, you wouldn't even have noticed perhaps how much time passed before it was time for you to cross over into more favorable, more sensational nourishment, and maybe perhaps even indulgence. Even with the Six of Swords here, you would have been crossing over into your own promised land, so to speak, where the cup was overflowing, as the Ace of Cups is implied to be here. Nothing left to be desired. Complete spiritual satisfaction, fulfillment, dare I say happiness, joy, love. That energy was surpassed. It was used to be a manipulative force for a more immediate gratification, but it wasn't really valued in the pure essence and form that it truly is. Like I said before, the cups being the original, the original supreme source of manifestation. That's the force fuel. You can't drive the car without the fuel. You can fabricate with some lesser substance, you know, maybe even you prefer an electric car, perhaps there's that. But at the end of the day, if we're talking about the original mechanism and mechanics of manifestation, it runs on premium life force. That's the cup that's been offered from Spirit, of which was offered to all of us under different circumstances, for sure, because nobody's experience of life is the same, but we were all offered that nourishment, that respite in the spirit to heal, to self-love, self-care, to build, you know, to purify our inner workings so that we could run highly functionally. The original energy of manifestation with the Queen of Cups here, that pure force and source of material, from whence all material comes. It's a spirit nature before it's ever anything tangible. So because there was a bypass and a disgrace in some ways of that energy, at least feeling like it wasn't sufficient, it's like, okay, well, everybody has their free will, strength card, everybody has their choice. And depending on which one you made is dependent on what crop you yield. And that is what ultimately is the harvest, and whatever your promised land is, whatever this crossing over, this, you know, transition is, it's only going to be populated. And what's the right word that I'm looking for? Not populated, but cultivated more or less with the crops that's not the word either. Hold on, it's not populated, it's not cultivated. I don't know. But anyway, let's just say cultivated. It's only going to be cultivated with what you sowed before you got there. Nothing more, well, with spirit, definitely more, but certainly nothing less. Nothing less. All right. So I'm gonna leave that there. I don't even know how to close this. Yeah, no, but I guess it is what it is. You get it. Anybody that, you know, oh, first of all, let me say, well, definitely not first of all, but last of all, thank you to all subscribers. Thank you to those that comment and like and, you know, engage in such highly vibrational and insightful ways. I'm so thankful. Sometimes for me, comments are a bit nerve-wracking because you just never know what people are going to say. And sometimes when I'm perusing the comments in other people's, on other people's platforms, I'm just appalled at what people, again, have the audacity to write. For what? Like, just keep it to yourself. Didn't your mother ever tell you if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all? I guess not everybody's mom told them that, but thankfully mine did, or at least it was implied, okay? So thank you for all those. I want to say that there were some issues with YouTube. I don't know if it was YouTube or me, but there was multiple videos that I didn't realize the comments were being held for review on. So there's that. So I actually, and I don't go through comments very often because of my own, my own stuff. And also I just sometimes just don't think to and don't have time. I post a video and I move on with other things going on in my life. But I do appreciate your comments and your engagement and just watching, even if you don't comment. I do appreciate all of your presence. And I apologize for those that have commented over a month ago on different videos and either your comment was held in consideration or I just never really got around to engaging. There may come a time, as I believe this channel is definitely growing, where I may not be able to respond to all or engage everyone that has something of what I believe is prosperous and productive to share, but it's definitely my intention to do so now in this moment of time because I do appreciate those that are here so very much. So again, I apologize if you felt ignored or disregarded, definitely not my intention at all, or if you were held in contempt of YouTube. I was unaware, and I'll do my best to do better at being more engaging in real time. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I'll just leave it at this. You take from it what you will, you know. I'll see you most likely tomorrow. I think that's the plan, although I have no idea what I'm talking about for Sunday school session. So we shall see how the Spirit moves one way or another, but no doubt I'll be back on Monday with another message. So in any event, I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, your weekend, and until next time, I leave you with peace.